Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Jordan here, back with a new review for you. Today I'm bringing you my first monitor review. This is the AOC Q27P1 27-inch monitor. Now, as I did say, this is my first monitor review, so please bear with me. It just won't be the most comprehensive review as I'm still learning and adjusting my testing methodology. So let's go over some of the key features of the Q27P1. This is an IPS QHD, so 2560 by 1440 pixel panel, a refresh rate of 60Hz with a response time of 5 milliseconds, a contrast ratio of 1000:1. You've got two integrated speakers that are 2 watts. This is base mount compatible as well with a 100 by 100mm mount. Then you have height adjustable stand which has swivel, tilt and pivot, and a plethora of I/O that I'll cover as we go throughout the video. So first of all, by appearance, you're going to see that it's not typically what you'd see from a gaming style monitor, and as you only have a maximum of 60Hz from the IPS panel, this probably isn't a monitor you're going to be looking at if you're actually looking for specifically a gaming monitor. This is more aimed towards people that are creative. It has got a great colour, so maybe someone that edits photos or videos, this is going to be more aimed towards those kind of people. So the bezel on this monitor is 15mm at the sides. It's not the thinnest I've seen, but then again not the thickest either. It's perfectly adequate to get a nice experience when you're using it if you're just using one, or even if you were to go for a triple screen setup, it's certainly not going to be invasive there either. So moving on to the stand, we've got a square base on this monitor, but it does have a nice amount of rotation as well, so you can position it just how you want it. Vertical up and down movement, so you can get it to a nice height, and you can also tilt it as well to get it into a good position. This stand simply screws on with a thumb screw at the bottom, so it's very easy to put together, and then the monitor itself just clips on. Easy to put on and off as well if you're that way inclined to be moving monitors around quite frequently. But for those of us that will be putting it together just the once, it is very simple. If you're about that portrait life, you can spin this around 90 degrees and use it that way. So this would be a perfect add-on monitor for a streamer that wants to add a Twitch chat to the side of their screen. You can easily do that. And being it's a more affordable option as well, does make it a good choice to consider. If you don't fancy the stand, as I did say, this does use a Vaser mount with 100 by 100mm on the back, so you can easily take off the bottom stand and then swap it over if you want to do so. Now, facing the monitor on the bottom right hand corner, we've got our menu options. These are quite small buttons, but nice in a way because they're not jumping out at you. But for those of us with fat fingers, because they're such small buttons, might be a little bit fiddly. Now on the right hand side of the monitor, we've got one of my favourite features, which is the 4-port USB 3.1 hub. So just a single cable from your PC to give you another 4 on the monitor. I really love this feature as I'm currently using an older generation PC that only has 2 USB 3s on the back, so having the option to expand one to one monitor, which is an easy reach as well, is a really nice bonus. And as a quick note, the yellow port is a higher amperage, so you can use this to charge your phone faster. So just up from the base, we've got our I/O, which is enough to cover pretty much any scenario. We've got DisplayPort 1.2, HDMI 1.4, VGA, DVI, and then 2 audio jacks. So how have I been getting on with it on a day-to-day basis? Now, as I did mention, this is a 60Hz panel, so it's not something you're going to be using for gaming. But for image quality, the color depth, this is a really great option for anyone that's doing any artistic work, creative work. So as I've mentioned, photography, video editing, color grading, that kind of thing. And being it's a 2560 by 1440 panel, you can get a lot of information on the screen and you've got a lot of real estate. So if you're using lots of different modules where you're editing, Photoshop, zooming in, moving a lot of different assets around, this is a real great benefit of having that size with that nice color. As I did say, it's a more affordable option as well. I think it's about £240, which for a 27-inch monitor with this kind of color quality and I/O and features, I think is a really great option. If you are someone in the creative space that wants a bigger monitor, maybe you're still using your 1080p displays and you want a little bit of a bump up in the screen estate, this is certainly a good option to consider. It does have a 96% sRGB rate. Now, everything I mentioned there is using the monitor by default straight out of the box. But if you're doing any more slightly professional work, I would recommend that you calibrate this monitor, which I did do separately just to get it absolutely spot on for a plug and play scenario without having to, buy an expensive calibrator. And I've seen the colors to be fairly accurate on whatever I've previewed after, editing on this monitor. I did do some movie playback as well to get an idea and gauge what that's like with some faster paced stuff, and it did hold up. As I did say, it is a 60Hz display, so you have to consider that it's not going to be buttery smooth like some other monitors. Now, much like movies, if you're going to be doing a bit of casual gaming, then this certainly will do an okay job for that as well. I think that's something you're going to do more on a rarer occasion than what you'd generally be using it for in terms of the color work that I did mention. If the main priority of buying a monitor is going to be for gaming, then obviously this isn't going to be something you're probably going to be considering anyway. But if you're just playing an occasional game every now and again, it will certainly do. Now, another point I made briefly in the video is this would be a great monitor if you're going to go for portrait mode. If you're streaming, for example, or you wanted to just add a second monitor in for chat usage, or maybe you do a lot of coding work, this is another great way that you consider to add one of those into your setup. Very easy to spin around at a moment's notice as well. So if you only use it in portrait periodically, that's something you can really easily change around. Now, one thing I did notice, and something I'd say to take care of, is when you do spin it around to portrait mode, watch the bezel on the base, as it can scratch it. I did see a scratch before I actually span it around myself, so this has obviously been done prior to me receiving it, so it's something that can easily be done. So just take care when you do rotate it. But overall, it is a great little option from AOC. If you think this monitor ticks the boxes that you're looking for, you will find the relevant links in the description if you want to buy one for yourself. If you've got any more questions or comments, please leave them in the comments box and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and don't forget to ding the bell so you don't miss a video. Big thank you to AOC for sending this out for me to review, and I'll see you all in the next one.